We are less than 7 minutes away from the beginning of the end. How's my audio? Here we go. It's weird recording in this space. I'm in my fiance's childhood bedroom right now. The last time we got new Stranger Things episodes, I wasn't even with my fiance yet. It's been that long. I am ready and not ready for this to kind of end at the same time. It just makes me think. I got into this show around when season 2 came out. I think it was my sophomore year of high school that season 2 came out, and I am now 2 years out of college. It's a good 8 years between season 2 and 5 coming out. So I am cautiously optimistic for what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to die. Let's pull up the predictions. I think there's going to be a lot of coin flips here. And what I mean by that is if one character dies, that pretty much means the other one is safe. Because I think what the beauty or the horror of this is going to be by the end of it is who has to live with what happens. This person lost this person and they have to live with it. That's going to be a big thing. So I truly believe in my heart of hearts, the only two characters that are safe are Mike and Hopper because of a set image that came out toward the middle-ish or end-ish of filming. It's just Mike and Hopper sitting alone on a bench talking in downtown Hawkins. I think they have to deal with the loss of Elle in some way. I think Elle makes a Loki-style sacrifice. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Marvel show Loki, he's kind of an anti-hero that essentially puts himself in charge of the multiverse in a purgatory in a way. He spends his entire eternal existence watching over everything and making sure nothing essentially blows up. I think that's what's going to happen to Elle. I think she's going to be stuck on the Upside Down with Vecna forever, or the Mind Flayer, or whatever. I don't think Vecna is the main mind behind this, and I'll get to that. But I think Elle goes to the Upside Down, stays there to keep it from breaking out in the world again. She doesn't die, but she's gone forever. That's my prediction there. As far as the coin flip deaths, I think Steve or Robin will die. And I think whichever one of them will die in Nancy's arms. Because I rewatched seasons 1 and 2 before we got to season 5 here. And one of the parallels I'm looking for, in season 2, Nancy is washing her hands in Barb's parents' bathroom, sobbing because she can't tell them what happened. In the official season 5 trailer, she's sobbing, washing her hands of blood in the bathroom. I think either Steve or Robin dies in her arms, because if there's somebody who's lost a lot of people in this series, it's Nancy Wheeler. I think Max or Lucas dies. I think Lucas is more screwed. Almost every shot we see of him in the trailers is him being chased by Demogorgons. I think either he dies protecting Max or he fails to protect Max and she dies. I don't think those two get a happy ending. I think Jonathan or Joyce will die. I think someone in the Byers family is destined to die here. It will probably be Joyce, because I also go back to that bench scene with Mike and Hopper. I think they're both going to reminisce on losing people they love. I think Joyce, unfortunately, will be the one of them to die between her or Jonathan. I don't think Jonathan will die, but I wouldn't rule it out. I think someone in the Wheeler family that's not Nancy or Mike will die. I don't think Ted's brave enough to sacrifice himself to die. I think he'd die in a stupid way because it's Ted. Come on. It's Ted Wheeler. I think that Karen will die protecting Holly, and she'll have no idea what's going on. I think Karen out of the Wheeler family is in the most danger there. And then someone close to Dustin will die. I can't put my finger on it, but he is being consoled by Steve in the final trailer, and he looks really upset. So, okay, we're about 90 seconds out. I'm going to try and wrap this up. Other predictions. I think 8 returns. I'm blanking on her name right now. Callie from season 2 returns. I think she returns to help him fight. I already mentioned someone dying in Nancy's arms. I truly think that like 40% of the OG cast is going to die. Not a lot of OG characters have died this series. I think heads are really going to roll in this finale. And then I stand by this. I rewatched my season 4 reactions, and I stand by it again now. I truly believe that Vecna is not the alpha. I think it's the Mind Flayer, because the Mind Flayer's been around way longer that Vecna has. I think Vecna stumbled into Hawkins, or Henry Creel at that time, stumbled in, and the Mind Flayer either planted the powers on this kid or saw the powers on this kid and led him into the Upside Down. Dustin's theory is that the Mind Flayer is as old as the dinosaurs, and I think the Mind Flayer is the brains behind the operation, even though Vecna may think he is. Okay, quick snack haul. We've got Cheez-Its. We've got multiple flavors of Pringles. I've got my Blue Heat Takis. And then the remnants of my Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell earlier today, plus a slice of birthday cake from my mother-in-law's birthday. That was yesterday. And I have a Monster in the fridge to power me through the editing process tonight. I'm done yapping. Let's go. That escalated quickly. Okay, lot to unpack here. God, where to start? I think Karen's gone. I think she's dead. It's not a friend's blood that Nancy has on her. It's her family. Ted's not gonna protect his daughter. He's too much of a coward for that. Karen's gonna go and protect Holly. This is gonna be the vanishing of Holly Wheeler coming up, which is a lot of predictions that people had coming into this season, guessing the episode title. I think Hopper finds a way out somehow. Oh man, Robin, I really hope she makes it out, because when everybody schedules reservations at Enzo's, they either go missing or dead, and I really hope that she can get to her date with her girl. And it's funny that Will walked in on two women kissing. He's like, oh, maybe that's me with men. It's good that everybody is working together. Everything always meshed well at the end of each season when everybody came together and made a plan. Everybody's doing that off the bat now. It is so freaking dangerous for Hopper to go in there alone, but this is what, Crawl 37? The Crawl is the operation that they go in and look for stuff and do whatever, but it's reckless sending Hopper in there by himself. He needs backup. I love that the radio station is a covert base of operations with coding and everything. It's awesome that Robin is the head of that. It's good that Steve helps her out. Dude, Steve and Jonathan need to, cool their macho jets in front of Nancy. I don't think she's dating either of them, or they wouldn't be acting like that. So I'm curious to see how that goes. The Duffer Brothers also said that this season as a whole will not be as brutal and violent as season 4, but this season will have the most brutal death. I really hope that's not Hopper, and I hope that that's not Karen coming up. I think Karen's a goner, so we'll see how episode 2 shakes out. I knew it would be someone we recognize that Holly saw, and of course it was Henry. I don't know why in my mind I thought it was Eddie, because I wanted to see Eddie so bad. Also, I glazed over Dustin getting the crap beat out of him in the first episode. Robin was smart to get Will out of there and just do his thing. I love Joyce, but she's being way too overprotective of Will. Will can be very helpful. He is the real radar, sonar, antenna, whatever Robin called it. But I have to give props to Ted. He actually went down swinging, trying to protect Holly, which I did not think would happen. It's a miracle that they're both alive. As far as Max snapping out of the coma, I don't think that's going to happen until part 2. Something's going to happen, but she won't snap out of it until later, or do something useful until later. I'm glad that Hop and Elle found each other, but what is that wall? I bet Vecna built that wall first before anything else to keep outsiders out. The fact that there's a whole military installation hidden inside the Upside Down and they haven't found it yet, Vecna had to have spent his time doing recon and just his own recon and keeping people out of there. But of course he came as a friend to Holly. I think he's been connected to Holly since season 1, because if you remember the claw coming out of the wall in the Byers' house, I think it somehow got to Holly. Vecna's had his eye on Holly for a while, so I'm very curious to see how that goes. I'm going to debrief with my dad and brother, and then I'll watch episode 3. There you are, Max! I was wondering how she was going to show up. So how is she there? Why would she end up there? She must be using all of her, spiritual power or whatever to help Holly in Vecna's mind. But I was wondering, who could have led her to the edge? And my first thought was, oh, maybe 8's back. Because with Elle hiding behind the door, or like Elle trying to get into the door to get into whatever power source it is, I don't think the military has Vecna. I think they have another person that has similar powers, and I think it's 8. I think they found her and experimented on her and did all this stuff. So I think 8 is behind the door. I can't believe that we just straight up kidnapped a whole family in their own house. That wine cellar looked expensive, man. Dad's not going to be happy when he woke up. But here's my question. Of all of the elaborate contingencies and planning and Home Alone style traps you set, the most basic thing you had to do was make a secure blindfold. You couldn't do that? You couldn't have made a true blindfold and not just a loose pillowcase that the kid could whip off his head and see everything? I don't get why that wasn't a thing that was done, but last episode coming up. This should be good. Holy shit, Will. Oh my god. Also, who called 8? Who called it? I called that years ago that she'd be back. And I knew she would be behind that door. Vecna wouldn't be captured by the military. But the fact that Will has the ability to do that, holy crap, dude. That brings about so many more origin questions of Henry. And Max is back. And oh my god. I knew when Hop checked on something in his vest, I thought it was a dead man's switch for a suicide vest. I'm just glad that he didn't use it. But no confirmed deaths of major characters in the first part, which I'm really surprised with. Heads are really going to roll in part 2. But oh my god. I can't believe Will did that in 3 different spots. That was crazy. He would have only had to do it in 2 spots if Murray knew how to drive the truck and not flip it over. Like, come on, bro. That was freaking crazy. I have no idea what part 2 is going to hold. I have no idea if that line, oh, you're going to help me one last time, well, if that was just bait from the Duffer Brothers, or if that's really going to be a line later. I have no idea where this is going to go here. Don't know how Vecna's going to get out of the installation. I don't know how useful Will be going forward. I don't know how everybody in the Upside Down is going to get out reasonably. The consequences of the gang's actions in Hawkins is going to catch up with them. Robin's girlfriend, I always blank on her name. I feel so bad. But she's going to find out that she stole medical stuff from the hospital and did the kidnapping with the family. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to catch up. And there's going to be consequences, but no major character deaths. I'm really surprised by that. I thought for sure Karen was gone in episode 2, but that was insanity. I did not expect Will to flip the script like that at the end, but I guess we'll see what happens over Christmas. That's all I got. That's my reaction. It's like 11:40 at night, so I'm going to call my boy Blake. I'm going to call my dad and my siblings who just watched this and debrief with them, and then I'm going to crack a monster and edit this and hope that it gets out in the morning. So thank y'all for watching the reaction. See you for part 2. Peace out.